just for clarity for people listening, when you say VC, it's venture capitalist. Some people don't
Yep.
know that, but when the I want to go back to that for a second. When the venture
Yep.
capitalist, so he sees, he talks to you, he tells you, okay, this is a cool company, shut it down. He's basically saying that you can't really scale this company. This isn't something that you can do on a broad scale. Now, um, do you automatically just feel like he is dismissing the company and dismissing what you're doing, or do you automatically know he's giving you some advice to make a pivot for the good?
You so this is something that in hip hop that we don't respond to well because Jay Z will always be known for Rockefeller, right? But like, how many companies has he had since Rockefeller? And he's probably the first that like emotionally detached himself from his company, where everyone else is like, "Yo, I'm Rockefeller for life," or like, "Whatever my company is, you're Playboy
Mhm.
Shy for life." You know what I mean? Like that is always your brand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the new school will always be a part of me, but whether or not it's a good business decision, you have to come to grips with. And so no, I skipped over the emotions that I went through with all that, right? So
Got it.
he says this, the my first investor that gave me like a little bit of bread to launch New School. He was like, "Dog, like just give me the tax write off. Like you've taken it as far as it can go." And in like personally, life wise, at the time, I'm trying to do a PhD, run New School, launch Create Labs, the early stages of Create Labs. And oh, by the way, I just had twins. Right, I just had my first set of like, boy girl twins.
Oh wow.
So wifey's looking at me like, I love you, but right. She's like, I love you, but pick.
Yeah.
She's like, you got a lot of stuff on your plate. Let's just go where the momentum is, and the things that you're still holding on to, you just got to cut your losses. You know what I mean? You got to keep it
Yeah.
real with like what you've done,
Yeah.
right? And the only way that to get VCs and investors interested in the next phase of New School is if I can get to a point where I can automate all the content, right? So think of like Complex magazine at the time, Vice, right?
Hmm.
BuzzFeed, right?
Yeah.
These are like other competitors in the non-education realm that are like just banging out content all day, right?
Hmm.
So the VC was like, dog, you're a hybrid. You got to pick. Are you a BuzzFeed or are you a Khan Academy? Because you're like a combination of both. And what's your way to like scale the amount of content that you need to create for New School? Because right now you got people just typing away, just making lessons, making content, and writing articles for New School. Like, do you have
Hmm.
an algorithm that can just automate this? I didn't, but I proposed that to that SBIR grant. I was like, here's my $1.3 million idea to like create a recommendation engine like Netflix to like just create the content and recommend lessons to teachers and everything that would almost turn it into like the Netflix of education. I didn't
Right.
get that grant. So I knew that was my way to scale. I didn't win that. And I was like, all right, well, if I didn't win that grant, that was my only way to get it to that level. So let me just
Okay.
put it down. Let me just walk away from it. Right. I took it as far as it can go and made the decision to go head into Create Labs because the momentum was there. Our events were popping all over the country with Create Labs. So we just decided to go all in on Create Labs and put New School to bed.
Now that's such a great point, though. That's such a great point to really know at that point in time not to tattoo a company on yourself, because like you said,
Mm-hmm.
most people, and you're right, a lot of times in the hip hop community, black and brown community, will do something and it's like, oh, that's my baby, and you do have to be able to just say, okay, you started a company. And most people start companies to sell them anyway. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
You start a
Exactly.
company, you scale it and you sell it, you do something else. So that's such a great point. So, and if you didn't do that, it might not have brought you to where you are today, I'd imagine.
No, because everyone saw all the investors that I met, and even this guy, Ken Ang, who's like he's a well-known VC now, who's known for like acquiring good companies and selling them. And he kept it real. He was like, "Look, you're a great founder. You're dynamic. There's a reason why you won this pitch. You're great on stage. I'm a public speaker now, so go figure, right? Like he saw all that back then, but
Hmm.
he was like, but don't don't waste it all in a company that's not going to take off. You know what I mean? Like, you got to realize that sometimes you're stronger than the company.
Right.
So I had to see myself separate from the company. And he's the one that's like buying and selling companies all day in the education industry. And he's like, I'm having trouble buying and selling companies in the category that you put New School, which is like the content curriculum category.
Got it.
So you're going to have a hard time exiting with New School. So that's why he was like, just you are great. Go do something else. Put this one down. Go start another company.
Start another company. Okay. So as you move forward, you get into the Create Labs. Now with Create Labs, you were saying that you and your partner, you guys were kind of brainstorming, and when did it come
Mm-hmm.
to play where you just like, this is what we need to do and start doing, obviously, like you said, you wanted to do the physical locations first.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's, like you said, crazy red tape trying to do physical locations. So essentially what you guys did is brought these workshops essentially to different locations. And what's the whole, if I understand correctly, was the whole point to kind of get kids to come in and kind of understand how to create apps and different things within the AI space, or was it kind of to just showcase what you were doing first? Like, what was the goal initially?
No, it was literally like, let's not wait to just do the black version of something or the black and brown version of something. Let's be the first to do something, period, right? And teach our
Hmm.
folks, like really creating like a Wakanda, right? Like creating a center that felt like Wakanda, where like you see kids building robots and piloting drones and programming and doing game design and building AI. Like, I grew up when you're an inner city kid, you grow up at youth centers, you grow up at community centers, you grow up at different places where like your mom's like, you got to get off the street. You're gonna be at this
Hmm.
place till 9 o'clock
Yeah.
at night until I get out of work. Where you're gonna do your homework, you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna learn karate, you're gonna learn an instrument, you're
Hmm.
gonna do other things. So like taking that model, but for tech, right? So like you're in this place all day after school, building something, right? Engineering something, coding something. Um, so, and that's still a passion of mine. Like I would love for that to happen. But once I started to really dive into it, the physical location stuff is real. Like the real estate part of it is real. And the investors that I was talking to, no one wants to touch physical locations. They only want to touch software.
Hmm.
So that's when it was like, all right, well, let's leave the real estate part of it out for now.
Got it.
And let's show people how VR works. Let's show people how AR works and show people how AI works. And then
Yeah.
put people on that front and get people into these tech jobs. So we were training people how to get these tech skills. We were getting them placed with jobs. We got a lot of people their first tech job. We got a lot of people their first tech training program to learn how to code. There's people that we've met that didn't know how to code before us, and now we're software engineers at like Shopify and
Wow.
Google, and they're there because of us, right?
Okay.
Or if they had a hard time getting that job, we gave them the first job at Create Labs and said, develop your tech portfolio with us first, and then once you have a tech portfolio with us, then they'll hire you because they want you to have more experience. And you got that first
Okay.
experience with Create Labs. So we give a lot of people their first tech jobs.
Okay.
But then when AI came into the fold, just from a research standpoint, that's when I told Grady, I was like, yo, Grady, this is it. This is like where this is going to take over everything. This is like the .com boom all over again. This is
Yeah.
like when Facebook first came out. Like this is the next wave. And I think we need to pivot and just like building our own AI and start building for enterprise, building for the industry, and showing them what we could do. And he was like, "Bet, all right. Well, if that's what you say things are headed, I trust you." And then we just dove right in, and now we're mainly primarily an AI company.